Yo, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Ben Mahari here, representing Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Hope y'all are having a good day thus far. Spend time with your families and all that other stuff. I don't celebrate 4th of July because of the significance of it, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to get into that today. I wanted to talk about the troubles with the Los Angeles Lakers and the big news that came in a couple of days ago. Because I've been, watching, various videos around YouTube, and I've been, really thinking about this lately. The Los Angeles Lakers right now are in deep, deep trouble in terms of their future. Now, I'm going to break it down in two separate sections. The first section I'm going to talk about is the LeBron factor. And then the second one is 2027. All this is going to tie in together. So here's the big situation that came out a few days ago. So LeBron James basically decided to opt into his player option deal for this upcoming season, costing more than $52 million. So he's basically opting into the final year of his contract. Typically, LeBron James doesn't do that. What LeBron likes to do is he basically guarantees 2 years and then a player option deal for the third. And typically, he likes to opt out of the player deal and basically restructure his contract or become an unrestricted free agent and try to basically navigate the free agency market. That's what he's normally done throughout his career. But the big story is that he decided to opt into his player option deal. And the big issue here is that now this pretty much effectively screws the LA Lakers in terms of the salary cap. Because now with LeBron opting into his player option deal, this pretty much kneecaps the Lakers' ability to sign any other free agents for this year only. Now, the issue that comes into play here is that this tells me a couple of things. One, that LeBron James is preparing for a possible retirement because typically he doesn't do that. And two, he understands that the Lakers were looking to try to trade him elsewhere. Now, if LeBron didn't have that no trade clause in his contract, I guarantee you they would have looked at offers to try to trade LeBron James. Because look what happened to Anthony Davis. People thought that the Lakers would be crazy to trade Anthony Davis. But then when Nico Harrison basically gifted them Luka Doncic to their lap, the Lakers couldn't say no to that, and so they were willing to trade Anthony Davis and what's the other player's name? But Max Christie. Yep, finally got it. Max Christie. So if they were willing to trade Anthony Davis and Max Christie to the Dallas Mavericks for Luka Doncic, you better believe that the Lakers were looking to try to make a deal for LeBron James. The other problem here is that the problem with LeBron here is that there's not many options available for him, even if he decides to waive his no trade clause. Remember, in that situation, LeBron has to agree to the deal, and more importantly, he has to agree to the terms of the trade for him to waive his no trade clause. So, as this moment right now currently, there's not much the Lakers could do at this point to make any moves to improve the roster. I mean, what is Rob Pelinka supposed to do? Basically loan themselves $200 extra million in salary cap money to try to, sign another marquee free agent. It's just not going to happen. The other problem here is that when I look at the Lakers in terms of their situation, they're basically preparing themselves for the future when the inevitable comes when LeBron James decides that he's going to retire. So, as I'm looking at this whole situation right here, the Lakers right now, they can only make maybe one mid-level type of signing, but then other than that, it's only veteran minimum type deals. But other than that, they're pretty much stuck. They basically are now going to be paying for this upcoming year over $191 million in salary. This is not the old school NBA where you could sign 2 or 3 star players and then you could sign, veteran minimum role players. Not anymore. Not in this current CBA where now every single signing that you decide is going to be very critical because once you're under the second and third tax aprons, you're pretty much kneecapped for the foreseeable future. Look what happened in Phoenix. They tried to sign a big three and it pretty much ate up their entire salary cap to the point where they basically traded away their entire future, mortgaged their entire future for Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. And you saw how the results turned out. Now KD's gone, and you better believe that Devin Booker's days in Phoenix are numbered. But that's a separate video for another time. So I do kind of partially understand what LeBron is coming from in this situation, but at the same time, he understands that the Lakers are basically knowing that they're preparing themselves for the future, and they're going to prepare for the future without LeBron James. So if you're LeBron James, the only option you could really have at this point is to pretty much opt into your player deal, get the last $52 million on your deal, and then basically decide if you want to continue to keep on playing for another team or possibly retire. The other thing here is, and here's another big factor, I really think that the Lakers were trying to lowball LeBron James in terms of not giving him the money that he felt that he was deserved. Because if he decided to opt out of his player option deal like he normally does, then the Lakers could pretty much offer him at least $35 to $40 million on his new deal. And I don't think LeBron at this point in his career is willing to accept that kind of money. So that's why I tend to believe two things: that he decided to get the last bit of the $52 million that he was guaranteed, and more importantly, that I think that he understands that the writing is on the wall that he might possibly retire after this upcoming year. Now, why is this all important? Because by the end of 2025, 2026, this is very, very important. LeBron's contract is off the books. Huey Hachimura's contract is off the books. Austin Reaves is on the final year of his guaranteed $14 million for his guaranteed $26 million deal. Gabe Vincent's a free agent. Maxi Kleber's a free agent. I think, honestly, you could probably find something to trade away Jared Vanderbilt because he's making way too much money for $34 million. So, but basically, those guys that I mentioned are going to be off the books. Here's the second point. The Lakers, I think at this point, what they're trying to do is prepare themselves, trying to eliminate as much as dead cap as much as they can in preparation for the 2027 free agency class. Now, here's the problem. A lot of these guys that are going to be free agents by 2027 are basically within their mid-30s or entering their late 30s. When I was looking at the list for the 2027 free agency class, there's only at least maybe one or two names that kind of logically make sense, but a lot of these guys are in their mid-30s or late 30s, or even maybe in their early 30s. Here's the names that off the top of the list that I'm reading right now. Steph Curry, he's going to turn 39. He's going to turn 30. He's already 39. He's going to be 40 by the end of next season. No way he's going to leave the Golden State Warriors. Anthony Davis, he's going to be 30. He's 34. He's going to turn 35. I highly doubt that he's ever going to come back to the Lakers. All right. Here's another one. Jimmy Butler. He's 37. He's going to turn 38. Are you really sure you want to take the chance on Jimmy Butler, considering all the madness and all the craziness that comes down with it? Karl Anthony Towns. He's going to turn 32. Literally, are you willing to take the chance on a max deal again with Karl Anthony Towns? I seen it. I seen the good and the bad and the ugly when he was in Minnesota. I don't think the Lakers are willing to accept that idea. Paul George, we already know how much podcast P really is just not thinking about winning at this point. We don't need to discuss that. Bradley Beal, do we have to say a lot of it? All right. Kawhi Leonard, considering his injury history, are you kidding me? No. And Trae Young, who's basically one of the at least younger type free agents. But right now, the Atlanta Hawks are showing that they're investing in building a team around Trae Young. So I highly doubt that he's ever going to leave the Atlanta Hawks. Another free agent that's going to be there in 2027 is Nikola Jokic. That's not going to happen because the Denver Nuggets right now are rebuilding their team to win now again. And now they're making smart moves at this point. So there's no chance that Nikola Jokic is going to leave. The only player that makes sense at this point is Giannis Antetokounmpo. But if the Lakers are basically banking on the idea of signing one or two, marquee stars and then trying to build your team with marginal, veteran type players on your roster, they're going to be doomed to fail again. Because again, with the new CBA in terms of how they can try to manage their finances, they have to start thinking things much more logically. You can't just sign 2 or 3 star players anymore and see if it works. We already saw what happened in Phoenix and it turned into a complete disaster. I don't think Laker fans are willing to go through another cycle of just mediocrity and failure once again because you have an inept general manager that's basically trying to do cosmetic, fixes to the roster by bringing in marquee names instead of actually looking through the draft and actually scouting for basically cheap talent or basically good, valuable talent that you can sign on rookie deals to try to manage your salary cap a little bit better. Why do you think the Oklahoma City Thunder and Indiana Pacers and now the Houston Rockets and now also you could say the Denver Nuggets a little bit because they're figuring things out now. Why do you think they're now in a good position now that they're going to start competing for championships at this point? See, the Lakers are dooming themselves for failure again. And then another free agent, James Harden, 37. He's going to turn 38. Are you kidding me? Kyrie Irving, coming off of a torn ACL. Like, are you really sure you really want to take that kind of chance? And Rudy Gobert, do I need to say any more? Michael Porter Jr., are we going to have this kind of discussion? All right. So right now at this point, the Lakers, I really think they're trying to bank on the idea of saving their money to try to re-sign Luka Doncic and then possibly trying to sign Giannis Antetokounmpo when he becomes a free agent. But I just don't see it working, because if you try to sign two star players and then try to see if that works out, you're doomed to fail again. So I just think at this point, the Lakers just need to start figuring things out. They're going to have to start building through the draft and start looking at figuring out which young players that could be more valuable for the long run. I know Austin Reeves' name has been in the trade books for a while. You know what I'm saying? I know Dalton Connect's name has been on the trading block for a while. I just think at this point, you're just going to have to start managing your finances better and start figuring out what players fit in what particular skill set for your star player to make this work. So, and I don't even trust DeAndre Ayton at this point, because as skilled as DeAndre Ayton is, his motor is extremely low. Are you really wanting to take the chance on that? I just don't see that working out too well for them, because even if you got LeBron and Luka Doncic on your side, his motor, his passion, his willingness to go through the extra lengths to be an outstanding player to help a winning team is highly in question. So, and we're seeing it right now in the last few years when he was in Phoenix and when he was in Portland. So I just think right now, if you're a Lakers fan, things are not looking good for you at this point. And I just don't know how the Lakers are going to try to navigate through this. All right. They're going to have to start building through the draft. That's the only way you're going to be able to try to find younger talent to try to build around for success. And you're going to have to start looking things much more logically at this point. You're not going to be able to sign 3 stars anymore and see if that works out. Not in this current NBA. Because now Adam Silver's got the NBA that he wants. He wants a diverse NBA, not driven by 1 or 2, 3 or 4 or 5 teams. It's now a diverse NBA where now you're going to have to start looking at which players are going to fit for what particular star player's skill set. And more importantly, do the finances justify the means? Those are the things that you're going to have to start looking at now if you're the Lakers. So it's not looking good for them, man. And we'll see if they can try to figure this out. But I think the next 2 off seasons, especially for this year and then up till next year, I just don't see anything that they can make this better. So, but we'll see what happens, man. We'll definitely see what happens. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. With that, I'm out. Peace.